Yo, what's going on, everybody? As always, I hope everyone's having a blessed day. So, this is going to be part two of my testimony. Now, I know a lot of people can give a sob backstory about how rough their childhood was, but not too many people can talk about their own transgressions that they have committed. I'm going to be doing that here today. So, this is going to be a pretty rough one to get through, but it has to be said. But before I start, I wanted to just give a little side note about my parents. Now, in the last video, it may have seemed like I had some pretty terrible parents, but I don't. I don't want to misrepresent them. I thank God for them, and I love them incredibly. And around middle school, I actually rekindled my relationship with my dad, and he became something like a best friend to me, someone I could go to about almost anything. And I actually get a lot of my personality from my dad. Then my mom, on the other hand, I never condemned her for her drinking. I realized that they were kind of like two different people. You know, my mom was just struggling with like a disease, and she became this different person when she was on it. And amidst all the drinking, you know, we saw flashes of my mom of who she really was through that. And that person is just beautiful, and we love her. She tried her best dealing with everything that she was going through with her own life, and she just tried her best to give her three boys the best life that she could. And even, well, there was also times where my mom would try to serve the Lord, and we would kind of be in and out of the church. And during those times, it was a completely different experience. Like when we were going to church, things would be kind of good. You know, we may not have had everything that we may have wanted, but we had everything that we needed. And there would even be it, and that's actually where I get a lot of like my outlook on life, because you know, regardless of if we were living in a shelter, or you know, all life around us was kind of falling apart, we had each other. Then there would be moments where our smiles would actually be pure. But with that out of the way, let's jump into part two. So I believe I left off going into high school. So like any other teenager, I go into high school and I'm incredibly insecure. I struggle a lot with depression, and there were even moments where I was really suicidal. Most of this came from comparing myself to other people, comparing my life to others, and just not really feeling accepted, not feeling a part of, what's going on around me, and just feeling less than everyone. Of course, like, you don't really know how to handle all those emotions and all those thoughts. So the best thing that I can do, as I also explained in the last video, was just suppress it and, just put on a mask and try to act like everything was okay. But eventually I end up meeting a girl, and we start dating. And we spent the first year of our relationship just really cultivating a friendship, really. Really getting to know each other, talking to each other all the time, getting to know who we really were. And because of that, she ended up prying the truth out of me, and I ended up trusting her, and I allowed her to step into my world. I let my guard down and finally really opened up to somebody about everything that I was thinking and going through, and she accepted me. So, and also because she was really cool. I loved her for that. I also got exposed to her family, and I got to experience, a family that was like, somewhat close, and they would spend their holidays together, sitting in and seeing all the arguments, the laughs, the games. It was just something that I always wanted to experience, and, getting to be a part of that. I felt really attached to this relationship, and, that's bad because you're not supposed to put anything in the place that God should be. And it was like putting a Band-Aid on a deep wound. And it gave me like this false happiness and this false sense of purpose where I just chased that, and didn't address the issues that I was dealing with. And that led me to go and do things that I never thought I would do. Now, I'm not trying to air out my past relationship with my ex, but to put it simply, those insecurities, those feelings that I had, also because of people around me, things that were influencing me, and this need that I felt, I eventually ended up cheating on her. And I even played some of the girls that I was cheating with, and it's crazy because I loved her. I loved her more than anything, more than anyone, more than myself. And I just let those things get the best of me to think I needed to go and chase other things to feel like this void inside of myself. And I ended up hurting the person that I love the most. And I felt like not only did I betray her, but I betrayed her family, like, that accepted me and allowed me to be a part of the things that they were doing to accept me as their own. And I couldn't even confess to it, I decided to bury it, and I decided to hold on to the guilt and put up this facade and just not be honest because I didn't want to lose this feeling that I had. I didn't want to lose her, and I didn't want to lose the family, and it was completely and utterly selfish of me. But going back to high school, in my junior year, I get a phone call. I get called into the office, and at this time, I was staying with an uncle of mine. And so I get called into the office, and I hop on the phone, and they tell me that my mother has gotten arrested for driving drunk with my brothers in the car, and that my brothers had been taken away to foster care. So, and like a blink of an eye, just like that, my family was gone. Everything that, I've known, just gone just like that. And, you don't know how to process that in the moment. It's kind of like getting the wind knocked out of you, and it's tough. But that basically started a recurring cycle of my my brothers coming home and getting taken away again. Uh, but after they had got taken, I got absorbed in my own life. I wouldn't call or see them like I should have. Um, uh, I did eventually. Well, actually, I ended up getting kicked out of my uncle's house, and I ended up staying with my mom for a little bit longer. But I eventually decided to move out and live with my uncle that I actually stay with now, where right here. And when I left, though, um, my the second oldest brother, my brother Josh, he just couldn't handle the situation like I could, and I chose a job, trying to chase school, even though I knew I wasn't gonna follow through with it, and a relationship over them. And I felt responsible for leaving my brothers there and for them going through everything that they had gone through. And after all those years, um, finally getting to like really talk and try to build a relationship with them, I realized I didn't even know them anymore. Those kids that I grew up with were gone, and my life's mission was to better my family situation. I screwed up my senior year. I basically stopped going to school. I got my admission revoked from Cal State. I tried the community college thing, but it just wasn't fast enough for where I wanted to be. So I decided to just work, and I started smoking weed, and I had no direction in life. I was just working, smoking, and that was basically it. Um, I tried to find myself in video games too, but it was just an escape from reality, and I just abused it. Now, I will say I did get pretty good at playing though. Um, but that started to open the door to the things that I really wanted to do. I started thinking about streaming and all that because I wanted to be a light to people, to show them something real and to just help them. But I eventually hear about a program called Europe. And after all that time, I felt like I wasted a lot of my years doing nothing. And I saw it as an opportunity to be able to support my family and give them some real, genuine help. So uh, I enroll into this program, trying to change my life for them. And right at the beginning of the program, I'm like maybe like a week or two in, and I find out that my mom got arrested again. And I took it as an opportunity to take care of my youngest brother. They were actually in Texas at the time. So, and my second brother, Josh, started living with my dad, and my mom and my brother Mark were in Texas. So she gets arrested in Texas, and my brother was just stuck with her boyfriend. So I just took it as an opportunity to just be like, you know what? Instead of waiting, I'm just gonna do whatever I can now, cause I couldn't do it again. I couldn't just sit on the sidelines and let life have its way. So um, I I took it on, and they flew him out here, and I started taking care of my brother. Now, while I was in the program, I got exposed to a community that went through a lot of the same things that I had gone through. I remember at the beginning of the program there was this interactive or activity called milestones, where you start talking about things that like your milestones in life. And I was actually going to share, I was going to talk about a lot of the stuff that I've shared in this video, but I didn't come forward. Other people started sharing some of the things that they had gone through, and I realized, like, there was things that I could relate to with some of the stories that were shared, and there was things that I that I had no idea what it would even feel like to go through some of those things. And my eyes were starting to be open to um, people around me that were going through a lot of the same things that I was going through. And the program um, just did that even further, you know. Um, and they really empowered me and made me start looking at the world very different, to actually start paying attention to it. Um, they basically just lit that fire in me that some of you may have experienced on my Instagram, where, you know, I started finally paying attention to politics. Like that whole time before, you know, I felt like, you know, like, who am I? Like, what can I do? Why does my vote matter? Or, you know, like, how can I make a difference? Like, I'm nobody. Like, and they just completely reversed that in me. And I got tired of looking at all the suffering, and yeah, I just decided to try and make a change. Um, but before the program was over, um, I ended up losing my relationship. Me and my ex had broken up, and I just I kind of lost it a little bit. You know, I lost that oomph that I had, like that drive. Again, it was like that second time of getting like that wind knocked out of me. And by the time I graduated, even though I had finished, you know, I felt just as lost as before I started. Um, a lot of that was because the Band-Aid that I was using was gone, and the wound that I had was a lot worse because of all the guilt, the shame, um, and of course, like, all the pains that I was still holding on to from my past that I didn't address. And to be honest, if I didn't have my brother, I wouldn't be here. I would have gave up. Um, but right before I started the program, I got heavy into working out. And once you start working out, all those people who know, like, you know, or like really get into it, you know, it's like a medicine, and it leads you into not only wanting to improve your body, but improve your mind and stuff. And then that drive to just better myself led me into a lot of new age theology, where, like, you know, like meditation, and then I started getting all spiritual and stuff like that. Um, and I also started dabbling with psychedelics. So after the breakup and stuff, I really started getting into mushrooms and trying to, you know, see where it could take me. Like, you know, see what the hype was all about, all this stuff that people had experienced. Of course, like, you know, the the things that you see, but also like the whole spiritual aspect, on the other hand, was really enticing to me. So after taking the psychedelics, um, they just hit me differently. I only took them 3 times. I had 2 bad experiences and one good experience, and in both of those bad experiences, it left me feeling utterly hopeless, facing like the darkness that I had on the inside, and it put me back in that place of just like isolation, of like hopelessness, of like just giving up on everything. Like, what was the point? Um, and this is honestly a topic in itself, but it opened my mind up to the spiritual aspect of life, and it made me really start asking questions about that. And I decided to give Jesus a try, like a true, genuine try. So at this point, I finally faced myself, looked myself in the mirror and was honest. Like I told myself, like, you're not good. You're not. No matter how much you try to be, you're not good. I was tired of lying to people. I was tired of manipulating those that I cared about. Tired of hurting the people I loved the most. I was tired of my past haunting me, the guilt that I carried. Tired of not being able to look at myself. And I had become everything that I told myself that I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be a liar. I didn't want to be a manipulator. I wanted to love the person that I was going to love with everything that I had and not hurt them. To, be sober, to not smoke, to do something with my life, and I was going nowhere. I was going nowhere fast. And then comes Jesus. So I surrendered to him. And this experience, I know people describe it all the time where they talk about, Jesus changed my life, but he genuinely did. It's honestly a supernatural experience. Like it starts on the inside. Of course there's some healing. It's not like an immediate fix, but I recognize like, I'm filthy, I'm filthy and I'm evil. I've done evil. And I just went to Jesus and I just asked him to forgive me and to help me, to give me the strength. And he did just that, he forgave me and he gave me the power to be able to overcome that darkness, to be able to confess this all to the people that I've hurt, all the people that I lied to, all those deep, dark secrets that I was holding on to. I was finally able to draw them into the light and be honest, to tear down those fake images of me that I was putting in people's heads and to show them who I really was. This flawed person, that I'm not perfect, that I don't got everything figured out, that I've done wrong, that I've hurt those that I said I never would have hurt. And oftentimes I didn't really realize the purpose of everything that I had gone through. Why did I have to struggle through this? Why did I have to live this life? Why did my brothers have to go through the things that they went through? But in all that confusion, in all that struggle, in all that pain, God transformed that into power. And a testimony to glorify his name. And to turn my back against this world and to show you guys the truth. Now, I know there's going to be some of you that may be able to relate to a lot of the stuff that I talked about. And I'm here to tell you that going down that road of drugs, girls, or guys, sex, chasing money, chasing things, parties, it's not going to get you what you need on the inside. There's nothing that's ever going to satisfy you. Ever. Not even whoever you envision to be your perfect partner, whoever that may be. They're not going to complete you. The only thing that you can turn to is Jesus. He'll make you whole. He'll fill all those gaps. He'll help you heal from all that brokenness. even from the things that you've done yourself. He'll make you be able to face it, to be honest, to let go of that guilt and that shame, and he will truly make you a new person. That person that you want to be. So I'm just telling you, you can try all those things. I basically did already. I've went down most roads, and they don't lead you where the world tells you that they lead you. There's only one way, and that's through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.